do what you do to get centered. And if going out for a run gets you centered, then go for a run. If having a glass of wine gets you centered, then whatever it is, right? You know you, and get, so just know when you're being spun. Like, I'm just being spun here. This is crazy. Get centered, and to do that. So let's jump in. Okay, we could probably get lots of feedback and have lots of conversations. But today, my sense is, and I was talking to my group earlier about this, and they feel the same, that there's a sense in the community in that it's time to get back to business. It's time to get back at it, whatever it is for you. And I sense that with our clients. I sense it with speaking to you guys here. Let's get back at it. So let's not forget about racism and the problem with racism and COVID-19. Those are still real. Mask up, do what's necessary. But we owe it to ourselves to get back to business and making money for our families and changing the world, our world, that we can. And Jordan was asking me a question with a client, and he said, you should mention this conversation I had, and I'm going to jump in. So Bruce, get ready. Bruce, you're on track to do our video with the Global Leadership Network, the sneak peek. So when I'm done, get ready for that. But I had a conversation with a client, and Jordan said I should share this with the group because it makes sense. And it was the quick synopsis of the conversation is, Rock, the world seems very uncertain. And I said, yep, I would definitely agree with that, right? The world seems very, very uncertain. But he said, Rock, I just have a sense of certainty when I'm around you. And because of the conversations we've had and the financial plans that we've had and how you've explained the investments and the recession-resistant portfolios, actually, I wrote that down. I mean, I'm like, stop, that's like really good. But he said, yeah, the world's uncertain, but I feel certain because of the planning and the, I'm paraphrasing. We had a 10-minute conversation around this. But I think that's what we want to do you want to do the same thing. In a very uncertain world, we want to give people certainty about whatever product or service that helps their life in that way. And I'm just really proud that we're able to do that for our clients. And I'm hoping we're doing that for all of you. I know a lot of you use the Turnell Financial Group, and Jordan and Tyler and Ben and all the different advisors that we have here, and Jennifer. So I'm proud of that. So Bruce, why don't you jump on? We're going to talk about the Global Leadership Network. Just watch your screens, and Bruce is going to put us on.
Bruce, that was a good video and a good message for us here this morning. I wanted to just see if we had anybody who is new on this week before we jump into our business share. Any new people with us today? If you're speaking, you might be muted.
I don't see any new folks. Do you guys see any new folks?
I invited Brian Axelrod, who was here, and now it's gone.
All right.
Rock might have scared him away. It's very scary.
Yeah, thanks. Good morning, Aki. Hope you're doing well. So I just see you on here. Yeah.
Well, if we may not have anybody new here this week, but just as a reminder, when we get done with our ultimate resource today, which is going to be Tim Stewart, we're going to all go into breakout rooms again. So remember your smoothie, which if you have forgotten what that is, it is simple, memorable, outperforming, outstanding, thorough, happy, intentional, and excellence smoothie. And we're doing this in replace of what was the old 24/7 when we were all in person. So just if you need some help on it, just continue to ask, people in your breakout sessions for some constructive criticism to help you get that really locked down. So, we're looking forward to seeing, what everyone's got for their smoothies today. But I guess without further ado, our business share today is Mr. Yale Wolk, who's going to be talking to us a little bit about home inspections, I believe. So Yale, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, thank you very much. I want to share something. What happened? Okay. Get this thing going here. I'm going to share little bit of information, and I'm going to share some pictures that I've taken. I know, Rock, I promised I wouldn't show your home, but I couldn't help it, but I have to. Today, we're going to a little bit about my background again, for those who are not familiar. I've been a golf caddy, played golf for a number of years. Haven't played in a number of years since. I had a terrific hook shot to the right. I had a 1 hole-in-one. I was on the 3rd hole, and I had a hole-in-one on the 7th green. So that was a real terrific hook. I've been a pharmacy clerk at a pharmacy. I worked in a hardware store for a number of years. Happened to be my father's hardware store, and I learned all about nuts and bolts. I've been a closing cook at different restaurants while I was in college. I've even helped assemble neon signs at one time, and I was a credit collector for one point. Those were the times when you didn't have any rules and regulations like you have today. So I was a little more successful than I could be today. I had a mind-numbing job of making plastic spiral ends round all day long. That was exciting. Had a radio show for 5.5 years. Both my listeners just loved it. I've been a hospital CEO and business consultant and business coach. That's what CEOs do when they're not a CEO, they become a business coach or a consultant. I've also been a movie extra in the movie Dillinger. Since then, they haven't picked up my extra screenshots or mugs, so I've not been any others. I've also participated as an election judge and still do. And I've been listed in Who's in America twice in my career.
That's awesome.
Some of the things that I've accomplished during my career, I was in a hospital. It was a brand new hospital it was approximately 9 months old. We had a major electrical fault in the system. It took out all the electricity. It even backed up into the distribution panel, took that out, so I had no emergency electricity, no heat. It was on a January 10th. We had about 15 inches of snow already on the ground, about 25 degrees out there. And I evacuated 135 patients out of that hospital. The key part of that is we had absolutely no lawsuits, although there was a whole myriad of attorneys running around trying to figure out how they could sue us. I have served on the LaSalle County Mental Health Board, and while there, I developed the first Illinois joint venture with the county for mental health treatment. I developed several joint ventures with physicians during that time to upgrade community health, and started the first non-metropolitan, outside of city, substance abuse program for both drugs and alcohol. Excuse me. I've led 2 hospitals during my career, from the verge of bankruptcy back to financial stability. They're
Wow.
both still there. They're both very viable today. And I also, during that time, reviewed proposed healthcare legislation for the House Majority Whip down in Springfield. And a lot of my comments and statements are in the record, the House record at this time. While on my free time, I learned to operate a TV camera for local fundraising marathons. That was fun. And right now I serve on the board of the Lake County Property Investors Association and the Illinois Rental Property Owners Association. And I've been a past member of the board for the Consumer Credit Union here in the area. I found out that credit unions weren't my thing, so I served and moved on to something else that I enjoyed more. I did serve our country as a medical service corps officer in the military during times of conflict. And then after hospitals, I made a career change, went to managing a medical group. It was in Oakley and Hanover Park, excuse me. We had 6 additional offices outlying. We were one of the first hospitals to have a computer system with a first type of computerized medical record and appointments in the days of DOS, which was before Windows. And to this day, I've never could figure out DOS. It's confusing. We added family practice and in vitro fertilization, and added 2 more offices. Before it was owned by a husband and wife doctor team, and she found out he was fooling around with my medical director, or my marketing director. So that divorce broke up that, and I decided to move on. Not knowing what I did, I was talking to my father. He was doing home inspections at the time, and decided to join him doing home inspections. Found out that I really liked it. I still do it. That was almost 22 years ago, and I do it. I'm still being asked, how do we get the name Arison? Well, these are my 2 daughters, Erin and Sonia, and we just made a combination. It took us 3 days to get there, but we finally figured out the name. I put this in here because I want everybody to know I was never always a gray-haired pregnant guy. I was a little slimmer in my youth, and I really did have hair. This is the newest member of our family, Fife, our Shiba Inu, and Chihuahua mix. We got him about a year ago. He's about 4.5 years old at this time. Some of the things that we do at Arison is not only just residential inspections, but we do commercial building inspections, pre-listing inspections, both residential and commercial. That's before you put it on the market. We do new construction inspections for finance companies, pre-closing inspections for some of those finance companies, particularly if the property is going to be rehabbed by somebody taking out a loan. We do the mold, radon, asbestos, and lead testing. I do have a thermographic camera that we can do some scanning of the home. That's mostly in the wintertime, finding air leaks or possible water leaks. I do fly a drone if I can get it to fly. Sometimes it gets temperamental and I can't get that thing up, but I take pictures of the roof with the drone when it does fly, and always have free consultations and answering questions. I'm going to mix up both commercial and residential pictures. This happens to be a commercial picture. You can see that somebody didn't measure correctly in this women's bathroom, and you close the door and it really didn't hide a whole lot except your face. This is a residential, a high-end residential place that had a little bit of a mishap. Again, the rule is you measure twice and cut once. As a result, this is what he did to compensate for that. I put this in because this is coming back a little more. If you have a brick building or a brick home and you see these kind of cracks starting, this means your foundation is starting to let go, your supports are starting to let go, and this can be a costly type repair. Putting new grout between the cracks of the brick is not going to help it at all. This is also another commercial building. This is not a mirror image. This was really there. I couldn't help but take a picture of it. I never could figure out why they did it, but they did it. Uh, and this is a high-end residential community where they didn't use the frosted glass. They put in clear glass. So when somebody's using the commode in there, you can just come by and peek in if you need to. This was one of my commercial buildings. Somebody didn't plan well. You had to have very, very long arms to reach the dispenser of toilet paper. It just, I couldn't figure that out, but they did it. That's where they wanted to put it. This is another one of those whoops. You can see there's a little theme here going about measurements. This guy wasn't sure what he was going to do. This is the way the construction finished. I don't know what they probably put a niche in the door again. I'm sure. This was done last year. This was just a recently remodeled kitchen of a, I think the home was of 1955, 1960, somewhere there. And this was the kitchen, and when you opened up one of the cabinets, of course, the fan hits it very nicely. This home was designed for a top-loading washing machine, not a front-loading. So in order to get into the laundry room, you had to walk in, close the door, open up the front-loading washing machine, then open up the door so it swings by, and then you can get to the dryer. Again, mismeasurement and planning, I guess. This is a shower bathroom. The shower, the whole floor is tiled. The whole room is tiled. There is no curtain. The shower goes right onto the floor. The bathtub is next to the shower. This is, I'm told, is either a French or a German style bathroom or shower. What I didn't show was the commode, which is on the other side, and that's all part of it. So if you walk into the bathroom, you just see everything. There's no curtains or anything in there. Yeah, they like Europeans. This is one of my more favorite ones. If you look next to the window inside the bath shower, you see the electrical outlet next to the window. And when you draw the curtain, the toilet paper is inside the shower. So when you take a shower, make sure you don't splash into the electrical outlet or get the toilet paper wet. This was a recently remodeled, rehabbed home. Good planning. This is something that I'm beginning to see a lot of again. These are double taps in the electrical panel where you see two wires going to the same electrical circuit breaker. This can cause an electrical fire. If one of the lines has a fault on it, a short, and it's a rather significant one, that breaker may not break, and you can end up with an electrical fire inside the home. You just buy another breaker and separate them. There's two of them in this particular picture, one above the other.
Yeah, we just got a couple, maybe a minute left to wrap up, if that works.
Okay,
with
I'm getting near the end.
Okay. Thank you.
This was a closet that had been converted. They put a light in it and a medicine cabinet. Why, I don't know. Here's some mold in a basement. If you ever see this, it's not dirt, it is mold. We can have it tested. This was a good one. The waste line was disconnected. It splashes both into the electrical outlet as well onto the floor. And if you ever see this is asbestos that's starting to drip and starting to come apart. That is a major health hazard.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, here's my contact information. Give me a call. We'll be glad to talk to you about anything that you have a question about. And that's why I say it's Arison Property Inspection when knowledge and experience counts.
Awesome. It was a great opportunity to get to know you better. So Yale, thank you very much for sharing. And those pictures put a smile on my face. So I'm sure
I won't tell them which one is your home.
I'm sure some of the real estate agents were smiling as well. Jordan, why don't you take us into the next segment, please?
Yeah, I didn't see Scott on here, but I see Carol is on today. So Carol, are you going to share with us some updates on the chamber?
Sure. Good morning, everyone, and great to see you all. Hope things are going well. We're busy at the chamber. Things are exciting. We're playing virtual bingo tonight, so this is your invite. There's a link in the chat box to the Zoom link. 4 o'clock tonight. You can pick up your cards at either Bill's Pizza or the GLNV Chamber office today. 5 cards, 5 games for $5 cash donation, and prizes will be awarded, specifically gift certificates to Bill's Pizza.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, it's going to be fun, just something to lighten it up a little bit. This part of our happy hour, our weekly happy hour, we thought we'd try a joint, actually it's a joint virtual bingo with MCC, Mundelein Community Connection. Then on Tuesday, well, we're going to start our dynamic ladies luncheon in person on location at the fabulous Liberty Restaurant outside in the tent. So we're going to see how that goes. All ladies are welcome. Invite your contacts. Anybody, you don't have to be a chamber member. The link is in the chat box for the registration, or let us know at the chamber. And it should be fun. It's at 11:30 on Tuesday. And then finally is our golf outing coming up August 19th over at White Deer Run. It's going to be a new format this year. So instead of the full day of lunch and dinner in golf, we're going to do a breakfast, golf, and then lunch, along with our 19th hole networking. So 18 holes of golf, everything else will be the same. Sponsorships will be available. So watch for more information on that. And I just wanted to thank everyone again for your lovely donations, Trinell and Freedom One, for our Helping Healthcare Heroes Fund. We were able to donate many, many meals with those donations to Advocate and our local community heroes at the police and fire and public works areas. So the donations are still open if you would like to contribute. I think I put the link in the chat box, or I will. And again, thank you again for all you did. Ray, I don't think he's on here today, but he took one for the team, and Rock and Trinell went out of their way to help promote this. So thanks again, guys. You're the best. We really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I wish that video, Carol, I wish that video, go ahead.
There's a thank you letter from Advocate.
Oh, fun.
See, I don't know if you can see it, but
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. I think we lost you, Carol. Right, is Carol still there? Yeah, I think we lost her, but I was really hoping we could do that video of Ray, of me shaving Ray. Unfortunately, with the earbuds I had weren't connected, and there was wind and traffic going by, but it was a lot of fun, and Ray was a good sport to allow us to do that. And the whole idea was to bring attention to the whole cause. So thanks, Carol, for all you're doing.
Thank you, guys.
I think how much did we raise? Like over $800 or something?
$870.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
that's awesome.
That's awesome. It's awesome. So Tim, it is 7:59. We're going to put you on for about 10 minutes or so. So watch your clock. And Tim's.
Believe it or not, I won't take all of it.
Okay. And then we're going to go to breakout rooms. And then on the breakout rooms is it's random. And after Tim will go to breakout rooms, we want to be really intentional about getting back at it and what that means for you and what a good client or customer or patient would look like for you, and how maybe the people in the group, based on your smoothie, can get you connected to those folks. So let's be really, really intentional. No small talk. You're right at it when we go to the breakout. So Tim, take us away. I love your shirt today. Thank you for sharing your insight and wisdom. I've got my pen ready and I'm going to take some notes.
Well, I don't think that'll be necessary. I hope to write on your heart today.
Awesome. Thank you.
So can you see the flag?
Yes, we see it.
The Pledge of Allegiance. Little history. The original text and revisions of the Pledge of Allegiance. In 1885, we give our heads and our hearts to God and our country. One country, one language, one flag. Colonel George Balch, a Civil War veteran, was tasked with coming up with something our school children could say every day to connect them to the country. 7 years later, on October 12th, 1892, Francis Bellamy was tasked with turning it into a pledge. So the original pledge says, I pledge allegiance to my flag and the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In 1923-24 at the National Flag Conference, they changed the words my flag to the flag and to the republic instead of just the republic. 1942, Congress officially adopted the pledge and decreed the right hand should be placed over the heart, replacing the Bellamy salute, which had been previously used during the pledge. Now, what is the Bellamy salute? Outside of Richard, I'm not sure anyone was alive and recognized in 1942. It looked like this, which is why it was changed to placing the hand over the heart, as this very closely resembled the Nazi salute.
So Tim, your slide presentation is not moving forward
It is not.
on the screen. So I think you need to go up and click on the mode and then it will. You're on the very first one, your intro slide.
Let me start it over and see if it will.
Apologize for interrupting, but I just
No, I
wanna-
appreciate that.
Yeah. So I think you need to go up and click presentation, and then when you click, it'll go.
Well,
And Tim, if I'm giving you technology advice, you are hurting, brother, because this is not my.
Go up to slide, show slide or slideshow.
no, I've done that. It's working on my end. That's what the issue is here.
Okay. Well, continue on. Just continue on.
I'm going to just talk to it. I'll use it for my notes and I can talk through it just fine.
Good. Perfect.
So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to break down the Pledge of Allegiance by individual word, 31 words. I, me. Oh, now it's not even moving on my end. What'd you do to me, Rock? An individual, not we, not you, I pledge. I make an oath. I solemnly swear, a serious promise or agreement, something you leave with someone in a way to show you're going to keep your promise. Allegiance, the fidelity owed by a subject or a citizen to a sovereign government, devotion or loyalty to a person or group or cause, a commitment, steadfastness, faithfulness. 2, an indication of direction. The, an operative word to indicate the following noun is unique. Flag, normally a rectangular piece of cloth designed as a symbol. The national flag of the United States has 13 horizontal stripes, alternating red and white, which represent the 13 original colonies. In the upper left corner, on a field of blue, there are 50 stars representing the 50 states. White signifies purity and innocence. Red, hardiness and valor. Blue signifies vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Of the, belonging to. United, made one, relating to or produced by a joint action, being in agreement, harmonious. States, a politically organized body of people, usually occupying a definite territory. The 13 original colonies became the first 13 states. America, named for Amerigo Vespucci, the first to map the coastlines of the Americas. And to the inclusion, not only pledging our allegiance to the flag, but also to the republic, a doubling down on the pledge. A republic, a government having a chief of state who is not a monarch and who in modern times is usually a president, a group of people who have bonded together to elect representatives to create and enforce laws for which it stands, referring to the flag, which stands for the republic. Again, a doubling down of the pledge. I double dog dare you to mess with my flag or my republic. One nation, not a Republican nation, not a democratic nation, not an independent nation, one nation, all for one, one for all. Indivisible, incapable of being divided, one so strong that nothing can separate it. This was added into the pledge because of the Civil War to say that we would never become divided again. Under God, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This country was founded on Christianity, so it only makes sense that God is referenced in the pledge. With liberty, freedom, the power of choice, privilege, the power to do as one pleases within the law, and justice, the establishment or determination of rights according to the rules of law and equity, the quality of being just, impartial, and fair. For all, the whole amount, every member or individual component of, everyone, all. So my question is this: are we just reciting the words, or are we making a pledge? When was the last time you got the chills making the pledge or singing the national anthem? Are you feeling it? Close your eyes just for a second. Take a deep breath and imagine that you are in the boat as Washington is crossing the Delaware, that you are at Gettysburg waiting for President Lincoln's speech. You're at the signing of a peace treaty, the Treaty of Paris that ended the Revolutionary War, Versailles that ended World War I, Potsdam Treaty that ended World War II, the Korean War settlement, the Geneva Accords, the Vietnam War Agreement. Place yourself at the raising of the flag at Iwo Jima. Place yourself in Pearl Harbor, at Ground Zero in New York City, at any major event in U.S. history. Now, if you're able to rise and recite with me the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For all. For every human being who has ever set foot on the soil of the United States of America, that flag represents liberty and justice for all. But more than that, it represents the hundreds of thousands, even millions of people who gave their life and their limb for this country. The next time we have the opportunity to make the Pledge of Allegiance, let's say it like we mean it. Then let's live it like we say it. My name is Tim Stewart. They call me Coach Papa, and I do approve this message. God bless. Travel safe. Make this your best day yet.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. I didn't know what you were going to do, so that was a nice treat. Why don't you? We have just a minute or two before we go into the breakout room. So just take, in light of that, and in light of the great conversation that we had with Marvin last week. Marvin, I don't know if you were on early enough to hear our pre-conversation, but we had a nice conversation acknowledging and what to do next. Why don't you talk about, you said you had an appointment last week after this, and it was, you had to just talk through that real quick, how that last week impacted you, because I'm sure it was similar for the rest. Tim, are you there?
I am.
Yeah.
Last week I have a meeting. Paul Fiorelli sent me a thank you note, and I was reading Paul's note, so thank you, Paul, for acknowledging that. I had a meeting every other Thursday. I have a meeting with one of my clients right after Freedom One. And following last week, and we started meeting, I had to stop it because my mind was going in so many directions from what I heard. And Rock, if you don't mind if I share my thoughts for just a second on this, I think it's a perfect storm. We up here in the North experience cabin fever, but the whole country doesn't get that. We are at the greatest time of cabin fever ever. And pent up emotions and energy is sitting here waiting to explode. On the other side, we have the racial tensions that have been underlying for many, forever, since the dawn of time. And today, with all our technology and knowledge, we should be able to figure out a way to overcome this, but we haven't yet. We keep pushing it off to the side. Then you have a political system that is so divided, we cannot figure out how to come together even to solve a pandemic of the greatest crisis that we've had in our lifetime. You bring in the George Floyd incident, which is tragic, but it was a trigger that put all this pent-up emotion into the racial tension, and everything has exploded into a point that if we don't figure this out, if we can't come together as a country, to heck with Democrats, to heck with Republicans, come together as people to figure out how to fix this, then it's going to continue. My concern is, with 3, 4, or 5 weeks after 9/11, everybody was flying a flag, and then we went back to normal. After the real estate bubble burst, everybody was jumping all over things, and then it went back to whatever. My concern is that people are going to let this pass by too. And we as business owners, as leaders, we can't let that happen. We have got to come together and figure this thing out this time, so that going forward from now, people will be able to look back and say, this period of time, this is when it all stopped. So
Great. Thank you,
I'm
Tim.
good on
Appreciate your wisdom and insight. So we're going to go to our Zoom rooms, our breakout rooms. So Kim and Kristen, my K-Squared team, take us there, and then we'll come back and finish up. So hit join, and then we'll go to our breakout rooms. So we're all back. So do you have good conversations? Give me a thumbs up if you had really good conversations. Yeah. In our group, we had Chris and Rudy and Phil and Matt, and they did their presentation, and I had the rest of the group critique them and say, what do we buy from you? Are we really clear on who you're looking for? And we co-elevated one another. We did it very fast. Do you guys kind of do the same thing?
Nope, we got into small talk.
You got just small talk? Great.
We
Like how
opened
to,
up with our introductions, then we got into small talk.
okay, and you talked about how to smile when you're on Zoom?
Yeah. So I've been trying to share this video for the last 2 months. It's
Right,
an
what?
update, this one video is called COVID Paradise. It's a long song, but I'm just play like the first 30 seconds of it just to get you into it. It's an upbeat song. Talk
do
to
it.
it if you want. Oops.
Let's do it.
Actually, I forgot to hit the audio, which is important. Share sound. Here we go.
This is for everybody. We're all in it together. Here we go.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at the shelves and realize there's none left. Cause I've been quarantined in my house for so long that I'm almost out of beans and the TP is gone. But I ain't never hoarded things that didn't deserve it. Plaquenil and zinc, you know that's unheard of. You better watch how you're sneezing and where you're coughing, or you and your homies may be lined in chalk. I really hate to wash my hands, but it's no joke. A doorknob could be deadlier than pistol smoke. Fool, I'm the kind of guy who's always going viral. Got the flu already twice, now I'm about to spiral.
Don't wanna spend my life quarantined in COVID paradise. We keep spending all our lives quarantined in COVID paradise.
Okay.
I like it, Bruce. Thanks for
Yeah,
sharing
so
that. with
I
me.
can put a link if you want to watch the entire video.
Yeah, do that. Do
So
that.
actually, so one of the guy who opened it up, he's actually a eye surgeon up in Racine, and he on the side he writes and sings.
Oh,
So he actually
okay.
he wrote that the lyrics to that. Of course, that was taken from Gangster Paradise, but he also writes original music.
So
Okay.
we got to do our own music video at Trinell, don't you think, Rock?
Boy.
I mean,
I don't know.
I think we ought to do our own, and Bruce could help us coordinate all this, and we'll have our own music video. What do you think? Come on, Rock,
No.
Well, actually,
get on board with this.
Rock, you got the name for it.
well, I'm still waiting for those thank yous. I got maybe five or six of them, and I put up that call about a month ago.
Thank yous for what?
Thank you for the first responders.
Oh, share it again, please. Share it again. We
Okay.
are slow learners with lots of money.
Cody gave it to me like within 2 hours, and then over the last several weeks is like I got one a week.
Tell us what you want. Don't tell us what we didn't do. Tell us what you want, and we'll get back on it.
Okay, so I'll share both these things. So I'll share the link to the video in case you want to share that out.
Rock, one of the suggestions our group had was more of the breakouts.
More
We really
breakouts?
get more of the breakouts because we really get to learn more about the people in the group.
Yes, yes. So we're working on that. We want to be a role model for other networking groups. And I think what we're going to do is afterwards, this is what we're working on. Tell me what you think or put it in the comments section, is do Zoom breakouts afterwards. I've just been doing a little bit of Freedom One overtime, having some conversations about just what's on my mind. And a lot of people have been sticking around for that. So thank you. And thank you for all your emails and comments. I appreciate that. But yeah, we're thinking about doing that, just doing some Zooms or figuring out a way if you want to connect with 3 people to invite 3 people to a Zoom that you're going to have immediately after this while we're in the profit mode and thinking about being wildly successful and wildly profitable as we're on the other side of this. So Bruce, thank you for contributing. We appreciate that, bringing the energy. I want you in your day today and tomorrow, even though the world feels crazy, crazy, crazy uncertain, the world feels uncertainty, I want you to go around and bring certainty to people's worlds. And that may just be listening to them or whatever, just bring certainty. So I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody for being here today. It's going to be a beautiful day. Get out and enjoy that and continue to have great conversations. If Marvin's still on here, Marvin and I are going to do a little overtime. Marvin, are you still there? Did I lose Marvin? Aki, you and I are going to do a little overtime, okay? Does that sound good?
I'm gonna leave the group. I just want to thank everybody for being here and just listening to everybody else, and keep on sharing everybody else's business.
Yeah.
Thank you, and we'll have a great and wonderful day.
Thank you, guys. Aki, are you still there? You're there. You're
Yes,
unmuted.
yes, sure.
Yeah. Aki, tell me a little bit about what you were thinking about from last week. Just because you were caught as off guard as everybody else was with Marvin and I's conversation, but help the group process what you were thinking of a bunch of Midwestern white guys, mostly white people, trying to be real and trying to figure stuff out.
Well, I think you just hit the nail on the head, is being real. I mean, and that's what people need to do. And like we said, we talked about last week, is you need to ask yourself the hard questions. You really do need to sit down and think about it, because like Marvin said, and I can attest to, the racism we're going through is very insidious. And I'm sure sometimes people say things that they don't even realize is racist. Like the guy who tried to give Marvin a compliment, which I got something similar, saying, oh, I mean, you spoke so well, I didn't even see that you were black. Well, I'm sure they didn't say it because they wanted to be mean. They were saying it because they thought they were giving a compliment, but that is not a compliment. Yeah. I want you to see me for who I am, okay? And again, because most of you, and I'm not saying this in a mean way, but because most of you have not lived in other communities or among other communities, you wouldn't know some of the things that might be triggers. That's understandable. So my challenge would be, if you don't have somebody that you have a really deep, strong relationship with that's different than you. And when I say different, I mean that in every way, shape, or form. Sociologically, psychologically, financially, color, culture. Go find somebody. Go find somebody and become good friends. Get to know them intimately, that you feel very comfortable with them. You got to start with one, then you can expand. How many of you there have a real Black friend? I don't think 1% can say they do. So these are the things I'm talking about. Go out of your way, go find somebody, go find a Mexican, go find an Asian, go find somebody who's different than you. You don't go to the same church, you don't eat the same kind of food, and get to know them, get immersed in their culture and get to know how you can help make this thing work. Again, like I was saying in our small group, you guys have to go to the village meetings when they talk about the budget so you know where they're spending the money. You need to be a part of that, because if you're not, then you're not a part of the change. We have to change everything from the bottom up.
So Aki, are you my good Black friend? I just need to know that, okay?
I feel that way. I don't know if you feel that way. I know you pick on me. I don't know if you use me for anything else, but I feel good around you. I know we banter and we talk, and I'll say this in front of everybody. I have chased Rock on a few things and he's listened. You know, when it started up and they were having the problems with hugging, Rock loves to hug. And I said to him, buddy, you better be careful because you might mean it for good and somebody else might take it for, he says, I never thought about that. So I know we've talked at certain levels that I don't know that everyone should have. But yeah, I consider Rock a good friend.
Yeah,
he picks on everybody though. So don't feel.
I think he does me so because I'm a Black Mexican guy.
That made me laugh the whole day. Aki, seriously, that made me laugh the whole day as I thought about you saying that. That was awesome. So I do consider you my dear friend, and we've had some very real and authentic conversations together. And when you have someone in your life that can stop you and say, hey, I know you mean these hugs out of love, or I know you said this out of love, that somebody could take it the wrong way, you know, they really care about you, right? So I appreciate that. Marvin, are you still there? Where are you at, Marvin? Where's your handsome bug?
Can you hear me?
Marvin, why don't you, some people have had our conversations with you after last week. They sent me emails. You got them, you hit them in a raw spot, Marvin. Why don't you talk about the follow-up, if you would, if you're comfortable.
Yeah, and before I do, I want to just say something about what Aki just said, and just to add a little flavor to what he said. And I actually said it last week as well, and that was about developing authentic relationships with people. Here's my caution around that. Developing authentic relationships is something that takes place over time, right? It doesn't happen just because the topic of the day is about people who are different. So I want to just caution you to be careful that you don't necessarily jump into these discussions with people that you don't know or that you don't really have relationships with. Develop the relationships, and organically over time, you'll have an opportunity to have these kind of real conversations. Excuse me. And that takes time, right? Because if you don't do that, you'll be considered suspect. Like, you know, why are you asking me this? I don't know you, I don't trust you, right? But the second piece about that discussion is this. This is really, really critical. Excuse me, and I've been thinking a lot about it over the last week or so, especially. We have to think about developing conversations and relationships on the basis of equality, not on the basis of patronization, right? Nor on the basis of, I feel sorry for them, so therefore let me do what I can for them, but on the basis of equality. And this will allow for real, authentic relationships to develop. Because if I consider you patronizing, I'm not going to go with you in terms of an authentic relationship. But if we're equal, then that will allow me to have conversations with you without feeling the need to equivocate. And that's super important in this whole conversation, because many people of color are now being approached that haven't been approached before by people within their organizations. And many are feeling the need to equivocate in terms of speaking truth. And once again, we lose the capacity for real and authentic relationships and for growth to occur. So it's got to be on the basis of equality. You and I are equal. We're not the same, but we are equal in God's sight, etc. We're equal. So I think those are two really important things I want to follow up with regard to what Aki said. Thanks, Aki, for mentioning that. My conversations over the last week have been really, really, really good. Not long after our meeting last week, I had another meeting with a pastor from Chicago who happens to be Hispanic and has a multicultural ministry in Chicago. It is largely made up of people from a number of different Spanish or Latin countries, but he also has people who are not as well. And he said, you know, I listened to your message on Wednesday night, and he said, my wife and I were almost in tears. He said, I want you to just talk to us. Now, I've got a relationship with this guy. I've been to his church. I've spoken, multiple times. And so he felt comfortable just saying, hey, just talk to us. Give us some thoughts on what's going on. Speak to us about kind of what's on your heart. And then, of course, some of the things that we can do. And then he played that recording to his congregation the following night. Had a great opportunity to talk with Scott last week. I hope Scott doesn't mind me saying that. If you do, Scott, well, no, it wasn't Scott, it was Scott. Scott and I had a real opportunity to really think through and delve into, and he asked me a lot of questions and so forth, right? And so, and Rock and I, chatted later as well. So I think this is a conversation that must continue and grow over time. Yesterday, I had a conversation with someone in Lake Forest who is really thinking about, how do they help create a kind of inclusive atmosphere and spirit within that community. And so we talked about, getting a few very hand-selected people together to begin to embrace that thought and begin to think about that even more within the Lake Forest community. And so it's time for us, and I'm excited about the opportunity for us to move forward in this discussion. So
awesome.
Rock, again, thanks for your leadership and influence in having this discussion with Freedom One.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I want to be part of thank you. I want to be a part of the solution and just have a forum, an opportunity to really create some great conversations. So yeah, you're welcome.
I also would like to say thanks to Scott for reaching out to me again as well last week. He wanted to know how I felt and what was going on and how we could help move the thing forward. Thank you, Scott, for doing that.
My pleasure. Hey, Rock, I'd like to just interject something. I heard something the other day that made a lot of sense. The question that everybody asks themselves is, am I a racist? And the comment that I ran across was, I may not be a racist, but I may be racially insensitive. And if you think about that, sometimes we talk about something and we don't intend to inflame people, but we do. And I'll just share something real quick with you. Many of you who are friends with me on Facebook saw me make a post, and the post basically said, all lives matter. All people should be held accountable for their actions. #let's move forward. And to me, that made a lot of sense. My son called me up, said, Dad, you're politically incorrect. I said, that's how I feel. I did get hammered by a few people. But, you know, I think that we all have room to improve, especially now in reaching out to other people. I think everybody is a key, and Marvin and I talked about where we came from and how our upbringing colors our views. And sometimes, you know, we just need to, I guess, reprogram ourselves. But I appreciate Marvin and Aki talking with me. We had a really good discussion, and I'm continually trying to improve myself and try to be less insensitive.
And Aki and Marvin, I think you would open yourselves up to have more conversations. I'm pretty sure you would, so I'm being bold in saying that. So yeah, so just reach out to Aki. Willie, I know, said he would have conversations. Anybody else on here, I know would have conversations, and we could ask questions, authentic questions that we have, and not worry about being judged. So just encourage you to do that, and then share that with people that are important to you in your lives.
And, you know, Rock, I think that what Scott just said there, one of the flashpoints, and this is why conversation is so crucial. One of the flashpoints is this comment, all lives matter, right? And that's an important understanding, how we process the statement, Black Lives Matter, juxtaposed against the statement, all lives matter. This is a really important one, because if we don't get understanding or clarity around that, then Scott is over in his corner saying, all lives matter, right? Someone else is in their corner saying, Black Lives Matter. If we don't have conversation, then we don't even understand how those two are mutually inclusive. They are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
But yet, if we don't talk about this, then Scott will stay over there and I'll castigate him because he has no clue what he said or what he means or what I mean if I say the opposite. That's why this conversation is so crucial. You cannot believe all lives matter and be exclusive of understanding Black Lives Matter. They are mutually inclusive. They are absolutely inclusive. And so that's an important conversation to have. So when someone says Black Lives Matter, they're not saying that they're not saying that all lives don't matter. They're saying, against the backdrop of history and against the backdrop of this challenge in which we're facing, hey, Black Lives Matter too.
Yeah.
It's that's the context of it. But if we don't have conversation about it, then you look at me when I say Black Lives Matter and you say, why do you say that? All lives matter, of course. But it's like this. You drive down the street, you see a bunch of houses, and one of them is on fire. You don't say all houses are nice in this neighborhood. No. Your attention is drawn to the one where there is a need. And if there is something compelling in you that discounts the notion that the house is on fire and it needs attention as well, then we really have to examine, where is our head? Where is our heart here? Because the house that is on fire is the one where there's an emergency. And what we're saying, what many people are saying when they say Black Lives Matter is, hey, we have 400 years of being part of an institutionalized culture where Black lives have not mattered. Black lives matter. That's how all lives matter can really be true, is if Black lives matter. Because if Black lives don't matter, then flagging the notion that all lives matter means nothing. For many people of color, we're really just saying, hey, we matter too. Finally, it's like the guy whose wife says, do you love me? and the guy says, "I love everybody." Woo-wee. Scott, you know that one's not going to work very well, right? Yeah, I love everybody. I'm not asking you if you love everybody. I'm asking, do you love me? All right.
I like it. I like the humor. So so there's a lot of tension around this. So a little bit of humor is fun. So Key, I like the fact that you brought up the Black Hispanic guy, right? That makes us laugh and helps us get over some of the tension that we have around this. And Marvin, I appreciate that as well.
Hey,
So
Marvin, I was going to ask Marvin, could you do, if you could, what you just did, if this was videotaping right now, what you just said is the first time that got clarity for me. And I think if you could do a little video, I'm not putting this on you, but I would share it immediately with a lot of people because you articulated something that I don't think a lot of people really get. So please, if you could, it would help me. I wouldn't be able to turn around and do a video and articulate what you just said. I'm just, it's the first time I really understood the way you said it. So I would love that.
Okay.
Can you do that, Marvin?
Yeah.
Let me suggest something. There's a book that a lady wrote. I think her name is Robin DiAngelo. The book is called White Fragility. I would suggest you buy that. White Fragility is called. It goes into points like this, nuances like this that Marvin is talking about, and a lot more. I would advise anybody who's really interested in this subject, buy this book. It's called White Fragility. The things that make you who you are and why you don't see things the way we see things. It's a good book. It's a good beginning point. It's called White Fragility.
In case you're wondering what Key said, it's a book.
There we go again. Yeah, it's not a book.
I understood what you said. I understood what you said, Key. I'm not sure why Rock didn't understand it.
Because he's a white male.
That can't be it. That can't be it. He just needed to clean out his ears a little bit more.
Yeah, in Rock's defense, he can't understand Phil Gator either. So,
hey, Rock, if you need some more humor, when Lori Lightfoot was elected, she gave a speech, and she said, "It's not important who you love; it's important that you love." And my brother-in-law said, "Well, I love my neighbor's wife."
All right, we're going downhill here. We're going to wrap this today, okay? So if you guys want to connect offline, please do that. Keep the conversation going. Put some videos. Marvin, will you send us all a video, please? A little 3-minute video on what you talked about. That would be fantastic.
All right.
Jordan, congratulations on your marriage, on your wedding. Whoever officiated that must have done a fantastic job.
Congratulations, Jordan.
Yes.
Congratulations, Jordan.
Thank you.
I know you're going to use the pandemic and the COVID thing to give an excuse why you didn't invite all of us. So we accept. We understand.
There was only 10 people there. We followed the rules. There was only 10 people there, and I was
with
proud
the photographer.
With the photographer, I was proud to officiate the wedding. It was a big highlight in my life. So, thank you, everybody.
Jordan, please go find out. Make sure it's legal. Make sure he has a license to do that.
He'll go look in a book. He'll go look in a book, Key.
Jordan, you need to buy some life insurance? I can help you.
Key,
Thanks, Scott.
See you later, guys.